Were you ever curious as to what happened between the episodes of Power Rangers? Well, wonder no more. We have amazing comic books to go over. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now guys, it's Morphin time! In the not-so-distant future, the city of Angel Grove witnessed their first crisis at the hands of a woman named Rita Repulsa, who wanted to conquer Earth. Rita sent monsters down to destroy the city, but not long after, the city received their heroes, the Power Rangers. The Rangers fought off these monsters, and when Rita attempted to power up her army, the Rangers called on their robots, the Dinozords, to stop her. With the Rangers stopping her plans, Rita thought that she needed something just as powerful to fight the Rangers, so she created one of her own, the Green Ranger. But just as the Green Ranger seemed to be too much for them, something happened, and the Green Ranger started to work with the rest of the Rangers to stop more monsters from attacking the city. This is where our story begins, in the Angel Grove High School, with the Pink Ranger Kim and the Green Ranger Tommy discussing that even though it's been a busy week, they should probably continue their training. Kim suggests that maybe after their training, they could go get a cup of coffee afterwards, and just as Tommy says sure, the bell rings and Kim says assuming they can even make it through class first. A little while later, all of the Rangers sit for lunch as the Black Ranger, Zach, tells everyone that he may have gotten detention for sleeping in class, and the Red Ranger, Jason, will be joining him since he tried to defend him. The Yellow Ranger, Trini, says that while they're serving their time, her and Billy will go back and run some diagnostics on Tommy's Dragon Zord and see why it hasn't been responding to him lately. Meanwhile, up on the moon, Rita sits with her minions discussing their last encounter and their attempt to charge the Crystal. The chaos energy created by the Dragon Zord in defeating their last monster did charge it, but in order to bring it to its full strength, they're going to need more energy. Elsewhere, back on Earth, Kim and Tommy have begun their training as Tommy fights a huge group of putties and Kim fights off a giant beast. Zordon tells Tommy that he's running out of time. The civilian group with him has sustained injuries and they won't survive much longer. He needs to find a path to get them to safety. Tommy calls out for everyone, telling them that he's got a game plan for them. They're going to cut through the streets to avoid his partner while she fights off that giant monster over there. However, as Tommy leads the civilians away, he leads them right into another putty ambush, and in the back of his mind, he can hear Rita taunting him as the putties slowly start taking out the civilians. Tommy screams no, and Rita says, "You did this! This is all your fault! They counted on you and you failed them!" Shortly after the simulator ends, Kim tells him to not be so hard on himself, and Zordon explains that this training sequence was designed for failure. They needed to gauge how he deals with defeat, and Tommy tells him he wants to do it again. He can do it better, and he wants to do it alone. He then turns to Kim, stating that he knows that they're supposed to go get coffee after, but she tells him she gets it, no big deal. Later that night, Tommy heads back home and he goes straight to his room, and as he lays on his bed, he asks himself, what do the Power Rangers mean to him? Suddenly, a sword appears at his throat, and a voice tells him, don't waste too much time on that, you've only got a few minutes left. Rita's minion, Scorpina, has her blade at Tommy's throat, telling him, we can make this a lot easier if you just give back what isn't yours. Give back the power coin and you can live. Outside his room, his mother calls out, stating that she knows that he's tired, but he should eat something, and inside, Scorpina says, maybe if you don't want to cooperate, your mother can persuade you. Maybe we should ask. But before she can finish, Tommy knocks the blade away as he hits his teleporter, grabbing a hold of Scorpina and sending them both out into the woods. As they appear out there, Scorpina tells him, this is perfect, an isolated location, and then grips down on his communicator, breaking it, telling him, and now you have no way to call for help. Tommy kicks her away and he shouts, it's Morphin time, and he holds out his power coin and begins to change. Once he changes into the Green Ranger, he tells her that if she wants his power coin, she's gonna have to come and get it. She swings her sword and Tommy deflects it with his dagger, and then he punches her back. As she steps back and gets up, she tells him, one of us is a proven warrior, the other is a child, and she disappears. She reappears, striking Tommy in the back, and while he's down, the putty begin to appear, and she tells them, let's see how long he can even last. Elsewhere in the town, Kim goes to visit Jason as he finishes up his karate class when they get a call from Zordon telling them that something is wrong. Tommy needs their help. Back in the woods, Tommy begins fighting off the putty, but while he defeats more and more of them, Scorpina tells herself that he's fighting just as they knew he would, waging one more war. And that's why he was chosen in the first place. But what he doesn't know is that every blow he makes, it aids their cause. He's making the Chaos Crystal that much stronger. Their goal isn't just to steal the coin. They need Tommy to fight and create chaos energy. But as the fight goes on, Scorpina is attacked. From the woods, Jason and Kim jump out firing their guns, while Kim asks why they can't take a hint. Tommy is done with them. Jason fights off Scorpina while Kim frees Tommy from the putty. And just as Zach arrives, Scorpina decides that it's time for her to leave. Once free, Tommy chases after her while everyone tells him to wait, but the further he runs, he sees that she's gone. And the voice of Rita tells him, try not to beat yourself up too much over this one. The others probably wouldn't have come to save the Red Ranger. You're no Jason, Tommy. As Jason and the rest of the Rangers finish up the putties, Tommy returns and Jason tells him, I'm sorry, I wish we would have gotten here sooner. But Tommy lashes out to him stating, I was blindsided. I'm sure you think you could have done better. Jason tells him to relax. He knows that he did everything that he could, but Tommy smacks his hand away stating, I know what you're saying. Back at the command center, the Rangers talk with Zordon about the recent events with Rita attacking Tommy directly, but Tommy tells everyone that she can do what she wants. She won't get the power coin or the Dragon Zord. Kim then says, speaking of, were Billy and Trini able to figure out what's wrong with the Dragon Zord and why it's not listening to Tommy? Billy explains that after their testing, everything seems to run fine as far as he can see. It just stopped listening to Tommy when he calls for it. Zordon says the Zords are connected to each of them. They must feel as comfortable with their users as their users do with them. And as the conversation goes on, Tommy begins to feel weak and then he collapses. A few moments later, Tommy awakes from a nightmare with everyone sitting around asking if he's okay. Trini checks his pulse and says that his heart rate is still up. Maybe they should run a power scan just to make sure nothing weird is going on. And Zordon tells her that that would be most wise. Up on the moon, Rita is watching as Tommy slowly begins to lose control. But all things are going according to their plan. The battle with Tommy drove him to his limits, and the crystal is fueled by green chaos energy. With one final attack, the crystal will have enough strength to open up the portal. Scorpina asks if they were to attack, they would need the dragon dagger. And Rita tells her, no. We don't need that dragon dagger. We need a dragon dagger. The putty bring in one of the defeated ones, struck by Tommy's dagger, and Finster pours a liquid into its chest, making a copy from the original imprint. Although it will be very unstable, it will serve its purpose. Down in the command center, Trini begins to run her tests on Tommy, talking with him to try and keep him calm, but before they can get started, they begin to hear a loud thumping coming from outside. The two of them run outside along with Alpha to see what's going on, and suddenly the ground shakes as the Dragon Zord bursts out of the ground, destroying Alpha. Trini asks if but Tommy says, I didn't call anything! And the two of them begin to change into their Ranger forms. Tommy tries to teleport inside, but it's like something is blocking him from entering. Trini jumps into her Zord and she begins to fight off the Dragon Zord. But as the battle goes on, the Dragon Zord overpowers her, slamming her into the ground. The Dragon Zord then begins to hear something. The music that Tommy uses to call upon it, and it leans down to him. While he plays, the Dragon Zord lets out a massive roar, and it lunges at Tommy. And then Tommy wakes back up, lying on the table in the lab. Trini tells him that everything is fine, just lay back down, they're almost done. But when she goes back to the results from the scan, she notices something. Everyone gathers back at the command center and Trini goes over the results, first showing everyone what the power scan would normally look like with someone like Jason. However, Tommy's scan is off the charts. Billy says that the dragon coin isn't tied to the Morphin grid like theirs are, but there is way too much disparity in this. Zordon tells everyone there that there isn't much they know about the Green Ranger's powers. These results could simply be Tommy still getting used to them, and Zach asks if it could be Rita still messing with him. But Kim says it can't be her. She had the coin once, but the powers didn't come from her. Besides, Tommy would be able to tell if she was still messing with him, right? And everyone turns to Tommy, and he tells them, actually, just after you broke Rita's spell over me, I've been having these flashes. But eventually, they became more and she started talking to me. Jason then asks why he kept this a secret, and he says he thought he can handle it. But Jason tells him that he could have put them all in danger. Right now, he's not ready, and that's when the alarms go off. Out in the ocean, Scorpina reports back that everything is working. With Finster's dagger in the crystal, she has full control of the Dragon Zord, and she's in position to embark on the final assault. The Rangers all see Scorpina in the cockpit of the Dragon Zord, but based on the reading that Billy is looking at, the power reading coming back is not coming from the Dragon Dagger. Tommy says that he should try and teleport in, but Alpha tells him that whatever Scorpina is using, it's interfering with their teleportation frequencies. And Jason tells him that he's not in any shape to fight anyway. So for now, they're going to go take care of this, and then they're going to move forward as they work as a team. So for now, Tommy's going to stay behind and take it easy. All of the other Rangers teleport out, calling on their Dinozords, and they begin to move out, and Scorpina continues trampling through the city when suddenly a chain fires out, grabbing the Dragon Zord's leg. As she looks back, she sees Billy's Triceratops pulling back on the Dragon Zord, slowly dragging her back into the ocean. Up on the moon, Rita's watching, but Finster tells her not to worry. I will create the perfect distraction! And he pulls down a lever. With a loud boom going off, lightning strikes the water, and then from the waters, a giant shark creature appears, biting through the chains connecting the Triceratops to the Dragon Zord. Kim and Jason begin their attacks, but while this is going on, Tommy watches the whole thing from the command center. As he's watching, he hears Rita telling him that he's just sitting back on the sidelines again, aren't you? Tommy looks at her and he tells her, you know what? Instead of listening to you, I'm gonna be the one who talks, and right now, you're still just me. Maybe I wasn't ready to let go of you. Maybe I'm even afraid, but not anymore. The only way you have power over me is if I give you the power over me, and I'm sick of doing that. The image of Rita begins to fade, and Tommy turns back to Zordon telling him, I can't just sit here. I've got the real Dragon Dagger, and that means that I still have a chance of controlling the Dragon Zord. Back in the ocean, the battle goes on, but then everyone sees Tommy teleport on the head of the Dragon Zord. Scorpina shakes him off, but Kim flies by catching him, and Tommy tells everyone, I got a plan. You're just gonna have to trust me. So Jason tells him, all right, we will, but right now, we need the Megazord power. Kim swings back, flying close to the Dragon Zord, and she tells him that she hopes that he knows what he's doing. And Tommy jumps up telling her, I hope I do too. As he gets closer, he kicks in the window of the Dragon Zord cockpit, and he begins to struggle with Scorpina. Jason and the rest of them begin to fight and destroy the shark creature while Tommy battles against Scorpina. But during the struggle, Tommy grabs a hold of the replica dagger and he pulls it out, shattering it on the ground. Scorpina tells him that he can't, and Tommy knocks her away, telling her, I just did. As the battle finishes, all of the Rangers return back to the command center as Jason begins to yell at Tommy for not listening. But Tommy argues that if he didn't, things wouldn't have worked out. They did win, so they should just leave it at that. He then turns to leave, but Zach grabs him, telling him, hey, Jason is still talking to you. And after shaking him off, Tommy drops a green crystal. The argument begins to rise between Tommy and Jason, and just as Tommy attempts to swing at Jason, the crystal begins to shine. Scorpina begins to laugh, stating, it's working! And Alpha says that it's a portal like he's never seen before opening, and then an explosion goes off. The command center begins to crumble, and through the debris, the Rangers begin to crawl out, and Tommy begins to ask if this is another hallucination. But Trini tells him, no, this is real. From the rubble, something begins to climb out and stand above them, and then shrinks back down. The voiceover robot tells them,
hello, I've been looking forward to destroying you for some time now. Who wants to go first?
You guys like to complain about cliffhangers, but oh my god, how about this one? Yeah, this is where the first volume ends. It's 1 through 4, so if you want to know what happened, you gotta go read issue 5, because it's gonna be quite a few weeks before we can do the completion to this storyline. And oh my god, is this series amazing. It's everything I wanted from a Power Rangers comic book. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, Instagram at Comicstorian. Give this video a like if you want more Power Rangers faster, because there's a whole bunch of side stories out there. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on your favorite comics. Wow, with this epic music still going, I feel like we need to end like this.